Good evening, everyone. It is now 6 o'clock on October 28th. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the Sandwich Board of Appeals. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The Board of Appeals is comprised of 5 regular members and 1 alternate member. The Board of Appeals can have up to 4 alternate members. Any decision of this board requires a 2/3 vote. 2/3 of 5 is 4. If only 4 members vote, the vote would have to be unanimous. If 5 members vote, 1 member could dissent. This meeting is live and streamed on Sandwich Community Television's website and on local channel 9. The meeting is being recorded and will be available on the SCTV website at www.sandwichtv.org tomorrow. The board asks that if anyone is recording this meeting besides this young lady, please let me know. I see none. Okay, we move on. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes as written of September 23rd, 2025?
So,
Second.
All,
10/14. The minutes of 10/14, 20.
Yes.
oh,
September.
October 23rd. October what?
October 14th. So the minutes from October, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 14th meeting as written. I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Gotcha.
You see what you did there?
Checks out.
It's okay. It's all right. All right, first item on the agenda tonight is old business, number 25-13, Country Club Road. Appeal of decision of the building commissioner. Miller is the applicant. It's going to be continued, or it is being continued at this time. The public hearing remains open. And no reason for Brendan to recuse himself because the applicant has requested a continuance to December 9th, 2025. A letter from attorney Christopher Corain. It is hereby requested that the above captioned hearing, which is scheduled for Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, be continued to December 9th, 2025, as I will be unavailable on the 28th of October. Should you have any question in this regard, please do not hesitate to contact me. We need a
Do you need
motion.
a formal motion? I'll motion to continue public hearing on application 2513 to the December 9th meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, next on the agenda. The Sandwich Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on the application of Cheryl DeMule, applicant, and Cheryl and Todd DeMule, property owners, for a variance from section 2600I of the Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw for property located at 3 Burbank Street, Sandwich, Mass. Assessors map number 80, parcel number 84, for the purpose of a reduction in required side yard setback. The public hearing will be held on October 28, 2025, at the Sandhill School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Mass. At 6 p.m. The public record information can be viewed at the Planning and Development Office. And we have some comment letters.
Motion open?
I always forget that, don't I?
Sometimes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, that's not that one. All right. First comment letter from Sam Jensen, Town Engineer. Engineering Department has no comment on this subject. From the Department of Natural Resources, the Conservation Commission comments for 25-17, 3 Burbank Street, Sandwich, Mass. It appears that this project is not within the jurisdiction of the Commission under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Sandwich bylaws. From the Health Department. The Health Department is in receipt of the request for comment for the request for a variance for the above referenced address. The applicant would need to install a properly sized Title V compliant septic system to accommodate the apartment bedrooms, bedrooms that would be created in the garage. Michael Andrew, Fire Department, Fire Prevention Office has no comment at this time. And that will do it. All right, would the applicants requesting the variance like this step up? All right, the floor is yours.
Well, we're a little confused on why we have to do a variance, because it's an existing garage and we're not moving it, we're not going any closer to the property line, we're just going up with dormers. It has a second floor,
And your comment, Leanne?
Yes, so this is actually very interesting what happened. So basically for their property, they proposed plans to construct a two-story barn that was originally supposed to be 10 feet from the lot line. It then when they did the foundation survey, it was 9.6 feet from the lot line. It was always permitted as a two-story structure. It was approved through the building department at that time in 2001 as a two-story structure, which created a zoning infraction. The setback would have been 20 feet for a structure of 2 stories. There's a 6-year statute of limitations on a structure that was approved and all inspections were carried out. No zoning enforcement was carried out in that 6-year period. So there's nothing to contest. It's a legal structure, but it does not have the same protections as a pre-existing non-conforming structure that was lawfully created. So any extension of use, which the use at the time was unfinished space, is now going to be conditioned to an accessory dwelling unit with office space. A variance is required. So there was 2 options. They could either get a variance to satisfy the setback, or they could get a variance for any of the new extensions. So what would make sense is a variance to satisfy the setback so that they would not need a variance for any additional extension of use over time.
So at the time the structure was built, it was built not in compliance for some reason. Should have been 20-foot setback.
Should have been at a 20-foot setback, but
Yeah.
it was approved by the building department. All relevant inspections were carried out, and everything, this looks like a technical error on our standpoint, not the property owners.
I know when we built it, we were told we were grandfathered.
Yeah, so the
far
vested
as-
setback would have been 20 feet.
But our foundation is also, our foundation sits at 10 feet. It's the overhang, the soffit boards that are kicking over.
Yeah, because I think there's couple different plans for the foundation. There's the proposed plan when we put the garage up that says 9.6, but then there's the certified one when it was actually in, and it's 10. I
We
have
count
copies
So
of,
it should have been 20, though.
Should have been 20, yes, at that
Just
time.
the building department missed that? When they
Correct.
approved it?
So it was an error that was made way back in 2001, which the building is as it stands, it's protected, and then just the change of use would require that variance. But nothing is changing bar they're adding dormers. So the overall appearance of the structure and the height of the structure remains the same. But we need to go back and satisfy the original legality.
Does that close it for future issues?
So I think the other challenge is the change in use, right? Going from garage/storage to now ADU. The biggest thing for me is in our ADU bylaws, it says that they shall not be eligible for zoning variances. And it's pretty explicit that everything's gotta meet the
Yeah.
zoning requirements. And I understand the garage in its current use as storage and accessory is, sure, it's there and in use, but if we're changing it,
But wasn't
How
there
do
2
we-
options on the variance?
Well,
One-
so just to go to that question
go ahead,
first.
please.
So those zoning bylaws are out of date right now. So on November 3rd, we will be certified with having adopted the state's bylaw, which says that every single lot is allowed to have an accessory dwelling unit, that we can't restrict that anymore. So we're kind of in this limbo period where it passed at town meeting in May, this bylaw is no longer in effect. The other bylaw is retroactive to this date, and it will go into effect on November 3rd. It's currently going through the advertising requirements. So the variance is for the setback, it's not for the use of the accessory dwelling unit. So it is a by right protected use. It's now a protected class, it's a Dover protected use for the state of Massachusetts. So they don't need a variance to have an accessory dwelling unit, they need a variance to satisfy their side yard setback. Maybe I should say that as clearly there, that was an awful lot of words.
Is that still, not to be,
Sure.
we're going deep here, but is that subject to vote at the town meeting?
It was voted upon.
It was
already.
approved.
It was already
approved.
issued? Okay.
Yeah, so it was approved in May. It goes to the Attorney General's office for compliance with all state statutes. They already issued their opinion and agreed in part with what we had presented. They got rid of one piece of it. And then it's currently being advertised and it will go into effect and you will get this yellow bylaw in November.
Next meeting.
Next week.
Yeah.
Sounds like you're first in line.
Yeah, not gonna wait a week?
Any other questions from members of the board? Would anyone from the public have any comment or like to speak to this request? Okay, in that case, I'll ask for a motion to close.
So just so we,
Okay.
just a question on because the application does not ask for a specific variance under what section. So we're just going with 2600. Usually there's there's something they're asking for.
So under 1321 and they're going to be vested, so 2550.
And the amount of the variance is 10 feet, 6 inches, or
10 feet 4, so they're 9.6 into the setback from the
9.6.
overhang.
so it's 9.6, so it's 10.6,
10.6, 12 feet, yeah, sorry, yeah.
12 feet?
No, sorry, no.
Yeah.
I'm saying 12 inches in a foot.
Okay.
Sometimes I think in metric and I have to convert in my head.
Metric. Bite your tongue. Okay, that's it.
Everybody good? Okay, motion to close.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. You're good to go. We'll get to this evening.
Okay, thank you kindly.
Thank you. All right, next on the agenda this evening, special permit request number 25-18, 48 Tyler Drive, Chapman, for the purpose of a non-conforming dwelling and garage. The Sandwich Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on the application of Benjamin Chapman, applicant and property owner, for a special permit under section 2420 of the Sandwich Protected Zoning Bylaw. Property located at 48 Tyler Drive, Sandwich, Mass. Assessors Map number 87, parcel number 60, for the purpose of a non-conforming dwelling and garage. The public hearing will be held on October 28, 2025, at the Sand Hills School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Mass. At 6 p.m. Public record information can be viewed at the Planning and Development Office. Okay, let's see what we have for comment letters.
Motion open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. First comment letter is from Ian Reed, Building Commissioner. On October 7th, 2025, a special permit application was filed to expand a non-conforming structure by more than 30% at 48 Tyler Drive. The lot was created prior to the enaction of zoning. It is comprised of 16,117 square feet and has over 200 feet of frontage. The setbacks for this lot are 30 feet front and 20 feet side and rear. The applicant is proposing an addition of 2 decks, expanded garage, and a second story. Lot coverage will be increased to 22%. The current net area for the existing dwelling is 1,008 square feet. The proposed expansion to the structure is 804.45 square feet, resulting in an increase to the non-conforming nature by 70.8% or 79.8%. It does not include the proposed second floor or the proposed expansion to the existing garage. Please note that no elevations were included in the filing depicting a second floor. However, through conversation, we believe that this is the intent. This should be confirmed by the board. Second comment letter from Sam Jensen, Town Engineer. The Engineering Department has reviewed the subject request and offers the following for the board's consideration. It is recommended that the erosion and sedimentation controls be established prior to the site disturbance, and these be maintained until final site stabilization is achieved. Last one from the Health Department. Health Department, excuse me, is in receipt for comment request for special permit on the above referenced address, 48 Tyler Drive. The applicant would need to install a properly sized Title V compliant septic system to accommodate any additional bedrooms that would be created in the addition. From Natural Resources, Jenna Silver. Conservation Commission comments. It appears that this project is not within the jurisdiction of the Commission under the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Sandwich Wetland Bylaws. And that'll do it. Okay, Chapman, you're up.
Yep, my name is Rebecca Moore. I'm an attorney. I'm representing my client, Ben Chapman. So he's purchased this old property. The lot was created in 1950. We're in R1. The house is dilapidated at this point. So he's proposing slight increase in the footprint because of the garage, and a porch, and adding a second story. So the nonconformity is going to be that we don't have the lot area. And I believe we may have a couple of do we have slight variances on the setbacks? Because we're changing the garage slightly. The current house is gonna remain in its same footprint, right?
Correct.
Okay, but you're gonna add a second floor.
Correct.
We do not have those elevations, or do you?
32 feet. So they're
32
within the
feet in height?
35 feet. Correct.
32 feet in height, so it's gonna be within current, those requirements. But he'd like to maybe beautify the neighborhood a little, make it a little more useful. And the septic, all that stuff's gonna be fine.
That's already been updated.
Yeah, but really it's the lot area, and we're increasing the nonconformity of the property.
Do you have any comment, Leanne, on this problem?
The setbacks are a little bit in question. It's kind of one of these unusual ones where it predates zoning. It doesn't meet all the zoning criteria under 2550 because it has over 200 feet of frontage. And then for that second section 2555, it's under the 20,000 square feet. So it's protected. The setback that we went to was the setback that was initiated in the first zoning bylaw. Just because it doesn't, when you go through those sections, so when we do like the town neck area, we get the 6 or the 8, or we have the over between 100 and 200 feet of frontage, it's 30, 20, 20. It has over 200 feet of frontage, but then you go to the next one that says it's if it has 20,000 square feet and over 100 feet of frontage, then it's vested for single family use, and then it goes to the setbacks for the date that the lot was created. There were no setbacks at the date of lot creation, so we went to the first zoning bylaw to determine the setbacks, which then would be 30, 10, 20. 30 front, 10 sides, 20 rear. So in that case, it would conform to that. But up for the board's consideration, because it's kind of
That's what
a hinky one.
Right. It's always been done that way that I remember.
That's the way I would have always done it. I mean, Brendan might have
Yeah,
more of input on
I
that, but
think it
we,
was a situation where we didn't, with the one that I remember. We went, because it's under 20,000 square feet, we went to the setbacks, the current setbacks on the particular lot that I'm talking about. In this one, they have under 20,000. I mean, there could be a variance for the bulkhead and for the garage, I would think.
It's 20 feet.
Well, if they don't qualify for 2550 and they don't qualify for 2555 because they have less than 20,000 square feet, you then go to the setbacks of today, and it's an R1, fortunately, so the setbacks are 30, 25, 25.
So in the rear, we're short, just short of 4 feet. But the house is not moving,
The house is not moving now.
correct?
Right.
So we're increasing the nonconformity.
So then there's on the side setback, it might be de minimis, but it's, you're 24.4 feet, so if we went with a 25-foot setback, that would be another variance. And I presume the proposed deck is 25 feet.
Proposed in the backyard, in the back of the house?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, that's 25. And then what's this, the bulkhead's the 20.4.
So that 20.4 is what you were saying, Brendan, that changes to 25
To comply.
Yeah,
to comply? Okay.
You're saying that proposed deck would meet that 25 feet, that, because it's a.
Based on what I'm seeing, yes. Based on,
but there's no measurement showing.
there's no
no
measurement
measurement.
showing it, but I'm just kind of,
Speculation.
I
yeah,
mean,
But you can always adjust that if you had to.
100%,
yeah,
100%.
we could adjust it or we could submit, new plans. But yeah, but we have extra on the sideline, correct? On the Tyler Drive sideline?
Yes, you've got considerable setback there.
Yes, so we would ask that the board consider those variations so that we can make this a livable house.
Do you mean a variance or?
So I had just submitted for a special permit for the lot area because we're increasing the non-conforming nature of the property. But yeah, the setbacks are changing minimally from what's in existence now. And to change that, we'd have to change the footprint or we'd have to change the footprint or change it up a little. I don't know how you could too much on that back setback. Unless you move the bulkhead. Is the bulkhead where it is that in its current position?
So that bulkhead, and just so you know, Brendan, too, we actually revised the plans a little bit. That was gonna be a doghouse, a walk-in. We've now changed it to just a normal bulkhead, and actually shifted it closer to garage way, which will actually change that quite a bit and get less than it is currently on these plans here. This is obviously prior to us having knowledge of the 30, 25, 25. We went into this with the assumption of 30, 20, 20. This is what, at least, that's what we thought it would. That's what we got from Ian as well. When we applied for, when we did all this setup.
Plans to do this.
It isn't, I got lost in that, because my understanding was if the law predated zoning, that you go to when zoning first came out, that's,
This is peculiar because of the frontage of the area.
So
I don't know.
2550 allows you to, gives you leeway if you have under 200 feet of frontage. When you have over 200 feet of frontage, then it changes, but 2555 comes back in to help if you have 20,000 square feet or more. They have 16,000 square feet and 219 feet of frontage. It's a tough predicament because
So the
unfortunately you're on a
20,000.
corner and you're
Yeah.
getting all of Tyler Drive.
I'm getting all the time. And yeah, that's where our predicament really is coming into play with the turn on the main street and not having a neighbor
Right.
across from us. It's just, that turn is really kind of playing its
The
factor.
extra frontage.
Right. It's working against us big time.
see if you can't claim frontage on, because of the curve, you're claiming the whole frontage on the whole.
Yeah.
One road, two different roads.
All right, so Brendan, you feel that they need a variance, not a special permit, based on again,
Well, yeah, the thing is, you wanna try and build this in compliance. Is that what you're looking to do? You're gonna make the adjustments so it complies?
If we have to.
If we have to, like I said,
Hardship.
I'm already shifting that bulkhead down. It's gonna become not as far towards the back of the house as if you can imagine what I mean by that. So that's already been changed. I have an updated plan here, if that helps you guys, if you wanted to take a look at that, and I will show you that.
does that show 30, 25, 25?
It doesn't have the site plan. Again, we didn't change this at all because according to what we were given, everything was in compliance to the setbacks.
Are the proposed balconies on the second floor?
Correct.
So could you put a bulkhead underneath?
Potential, yeah, if,
Where, is there an existing bulkhead now?
no, the house does not have a current bulkhead or access to the basement. I do see what you're saying, Brendan, and I'm just trying to envision it, I'm just trying to see.
Is that the front of the house?
That
or
is,
the side?
No.
it's the side of the house.
I think I may have found where Ian got the 30, 20, 20. It's the measurement of what the definition of lot area is. So the portion of the lot fronting on a street measured continuously along the street sideline, but in the case of corner lots, between one side lot line and the midpoint of the corner radius, which reduces the frontage. So it's counted from one street and the midpoint of the corner radius. So that's where we went under 200, which is where he went and got the 30, 20, 20.
So we should be looking at 30,
So
20,
I think
20.
it's 30, 20, 20. I think that
Which
there was a reason
which is what we
why.
got here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why Ian said that to begin with. He's
I'm
taking
about
the
to visit
measurement
Ian when he got
from-
back from Ireland.
Yeah, so it's that
Okay, so
definition
we're
of
good
what
with the
lot
30,
frontage
20,
is.
20.
Yeah, that's why it's 30, 20, 20, yeah.
Which is why we didn't apply for that variance,
Correct.
because you were told by Ian.
100%.
Okay. All right.
And
So-
just, like I said, the bulkhead is
Yeah.
gonna be shifting down, which is gonna make it even better.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so the, the going up is
Correct.
the expansion of the non-conforming.
All right. Any other questions from members of the board? Anyone from the public have any comment or question in regard to this permit? I see none. Okay, anyone want to make a motion to close?
Motion to close public hearing on application 2518.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You
Thanks, guys. Good to see you, Dan.
See you there.
See you soon.
Which bylaw was that he got the radius measurement from?
It's the definitions of lot frontage.
Okay. Last on the agenda for this evening, we have 2519 85 Route 6A Special Permit Amendment, Community Health Center of Cape Cod. The Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing on the application of Community Health Center of Cape Cod applicant and the Cape Cod 5-cent Savings Bank property owner for a special permit amendment under sections 1330, 3110, and 2200 of the Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw. The property located at 85 Route 6A, Sandwich, Mass. Assessors map number 87, parcel number 77, for the purpose of shifting the approved building location, reduce the number of parking spaces required, and allow off-site parking. Public hearing will be held on October 28, 2025 at the Sandhill School Community Center, 16 Dewey Ave, Sandwich, Mass. At 6 p.m. Public record information can be viewed in the Planning and Development Office. Okay. First one, Ian Reed, Building Commissioner. On October 7th, 2025, a special permit amendment application was filed for the purpose of revising the previously approved site plan and request additional parking relief. The revised plan, set dated October 7, 2025, shows the Community Health Center building in a new location meeting a 30-foot setback. The variance that was previously granted by this board is no longer needed. Due to a shift in building siting, additional parking spaces will be lost. The applicant is proposing 53 parking spaces on site with additional 3 off-site parking spaces located in the adjacent Cape Cod 5 car park. Sheet number C5 depicts parking layout and notes that 2 spaces which are titled employee only are within the emergency egress. We recommend that these 2 parking spaces be eliminated and the total parking count be reduced to 51 on-site spaces and 3 off-site parking spaces. From Sam Jensen, Town Engineer. It is understood from the application materials that a reduction in required parking is sought It is recommended that the applicant provide their management plan to ensure that the access drives remain clear, especially at times of peak parking demands. From Andrew Mandel, the Fire Department. The Sandwich Fire Prevention Office would ideally not want to have any vehicles parked in the emergency access on the northern elevation. However, this office did agree previously to the solution that if those needed to be parking spaces, they would be for employees only. The Health Department. The Health Department is in receipt of a request for a comment for a special permit amendment to the above referenced address. The applicant would need to install a properly sized Title V compliant septic system to accommodate the septic flows from the facility. And that is it. And Eliza, you're up.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. For the record, I'm Eliza Cox with Lattanzi, Spalding, and Landreth in Orleans. I'm here on behalf of the Community Health Center of Cape Cod. Joining me this evening, seated behind me to the left, is Karen Gardner. She's the CEO of the Health Center. Next to Karen is Dave Peterson. He's the chairman of the board of directors for the Health Center. Directly to my left at the table is Joe Henderson, who's the civil engineer from Horsley Witten Group. And then in the back, Chris Raber is here also. He's the vice president and chief real estate officer for Cape Cod 5 Cent Savings Bank, which is the property owner currently of the site. By way of background, as many of you may recall, this project was before the board in February of this year, so February 2025, almost a year ago now, where we obtained on behalf of the Health Center a special permit and a variance to allow for the proposed 20,000 square foot, 2-story health center with 2 workforce housing units, together with all of the shared access and parking on about an acre of this almost 5-acre property that's owned by the bank. The relief granted in those 2 permits were for the special permit. The board granted relief for on-site waste disposal, 2 residential workforce housing units, and then a reduction in the required number of parking spaces to 58 spaces. However, the board also put in that decision that if working with the fire department after the relief was granted, an emergency access was needed, that the parking could be reduced down to 55 parking spaces. And that's all in that first special permit. The board also issued a variance allowing an about 11-foot side yard setback to the easterly property line. No appeals were taken of either decision. Both decisions have been recorded at the Registry of Deeds, and a building permit was issued to the Health Center to start construction. As the Health Center went to proceed with the purchase of the approximately 1-acre portion of the property where the Health Center is proposed, it was discovered that there's a private deed restriction that was recorded that prevents construction of a building within 30 feet of that side yard property line from which we got the variance. So in light of that, the Health Center has now revised its plans. Those are have been submitted to you. It's shown on the board. The current plans make no changes to the building itself. The design is the same, the function is the same, the use is the same, the square footage are the same. But that building has now been shifted a little over 30 feet from that easterly property line to comply with that private deed restriction. And that is the reason we're here seeking to amend the special permit. The building in the now proposed location fully complies with the setback, so the variance would no longer be needed. Shifting the building, though, does require some realignment of the access drive, as well as some shifting of the parking spaces that were on the previously approved plan. And I'm going to ask Joe quickly to walk through those changes, and then I'll wrap up briefly.
Sure. Yeah, Joe Henderson, Horsley Witten Group. We're the civil engineers and landscape architects. Just thought I'd highlight some of the changes that we had to make. As mentioned, the building is now moved 18.8 feet roughly to the west. And as Attorney Cox had said, so that's a shift out to 30 feet. So we moved it from 11 feet to moved to 18 feet to get to that 30-foot setback. To do this, we needed to remove one of the parking spaces from the bank. You can see that hatched kind of right next to the entrance. We also will need to add a retaining wall along the parking spaces for the bank to, to hold back the earth there because of the slope. The parking itself has been reconfigured. We now have 56 parking spaces, and that includes 3 spaces that have been allocated to the Community Health Center by Cape Cod 5. Those are shown in the upper right corner, patched there, and also in front, 2 spaces noted as employee parking in front of the emergency egress, and that's on the northwest side, I guess, and that was part of the previous decision to coordinate with the fire department. That's why that emergency egress was added in the first place. There are no changes to the drainage system. The stormwater management remains the same. We have tree trenches, LID, green infrastructure to underground chamber system, and then the wastewater also remains unchanged. That's a nitro advanced wastewater treatment system with underground leaching fields there. So that's kind of the highlight of those changes. I'm happy to go over anything in more detail if needed.
Thanks, Joe. So under the proposed condition then, as Joe mentioned, in terms of the parking, which is the reason that we're here seeking this amendment and modification, this health center property would have, as Joe mentioned, 53 on-site parking spaces. That includes the 2 employee-only spaces, and then an exclusive use easement over the 3 shaded parking spaces that are on Cape Cod 5's existing property for a total of 56 parking spaces. On the bank's property, the bank currently has 45 parking spaces. 1 space will be lost with the realignment of the access drive, bringing it down to 44 spaces. Losing the 3 spaces that will be dedicated to the health center's use, the bank ends up with 41 parking spaces. 40 are required for its zoning compliance, so it still exceeds the required parking for its site. The bank did sign off on this application and has authorized this proposal, and to the extent needed, a modification of its special permit to reflect the change in parking, although again, it still complies with zoning's requirements in terms of what it's required to have. As it relates to the health center's use of those 3 parking spaces that will be on the bank property, Section 3110 does allow by right a property to use parking spaces that are within 300 feet on a separate parcel. These parking spaces are about 170 feet from the proposed building, so it complies with the requirements of Section 3110 of the bylaw. So wrapping up, there's no changes to the building other than it being shifted to now no longer need the variance and comply with setbacks. We have had this revised plan approved by the Old Kings Highway Committee. We suggest the special permit that you granted allowed 55 parking spaces if there was an emergency access. Here we're having now 56 parking spaces proposed to serve the health center. And the bank, as I mentioned, continues to comply with zoning requirements. So I think I'll pause there and then ask if there's any questions of the board.
Leah, do you have any comments?
The only comment I would make is with regards to the emergency egress and the 2 employee-only parking spaces. In Ian's absence tonight, I did ask Fire Prevention Officer Andrew Mandel to come. I know Ian expressed concerns regarding those being parking spaces and would prefer to see the board reduce parking spaces on site and support that request to have that just open for emergency access only. And I'm sure Andrew can speak to that if the board would want to entertain that as an option.
Any members of the board have any questions?
If I may, Mr. Chair, the reason that we designate them obviously for employee spaces, the thought is obviously if there's an emergency and there's a car parked there, the employee is going to be on site and then can move their car. And we're proposing, subject to what the board prefers, signage, we can, pavement stripe market, just to make it clear that those are for employees only as proposed.
Anyone from the public wish to speak or have any questions in regard to this amendment? Yes, sir. Could you please state your name?
Hey, Joel Finley. I'm the owner of the abutting property with the 30-foot restrictions. I was contacted over the summer about this restriction with no really warning, and kind of had some timelines shoved down my throat saying we need to get this done, and I didn't really have a choice, but I had to sign this piece of paper. And I asked to pause, and I had some great conversations with Karen to kind of enlighten me on what was going on. I do feel that it does impede my residential property that abuts this proposed lot. And we did have a deal in place, and I conceded and accepted the deal, and then all of us out of nowhere they backed out. So I just feel that it's a big building. It's going to be very high traffic, people in and out, and that we'd love to work with them, but I just feel like it's really kind of a situation where it wasn't really fair to me as far as the neighbor. I didn't really have time to absorb what was going on, and they had high pressure, they had their own deadlines, and I just feel that the extra spaces could be adequate had we come to an agreement. I saw that they lost 8 spots on that entrance, and just would like to consider that, let it conform with the spaces they had, and we would just have to work out that deal. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
So Liza, with what you're proposing, you're in compliance with.
That's right. So, yes, we now fully comply with the private title restriction rather than try to get that released early. We moved the building to comply with zoning and the title restriction.
Okay. I see no further questions from the board.
None.
All right, can I get a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. There's no board discussion that I'm aware of, so we might as well start deliberating with 3 Burbank Street. Thank you, Maureen, you saved me again.
Okay, this is 3 Burbank Street. Procedural history in accordance with section 1321 protective zoning bylaw or variance application from section 2550 of the zoning bylaw for property located at 3 Burbank Street was filed on October 7th, 2024.
25.
Okay. After proper notice was given, the public hearing was opened on October 28th, 2025, and closed on October 28th, 2025. The application was accompanied by a plan set entitled Garage Renovation for Demul Residence, 3 Burbank Street, Sandwich, Mass. by R&R Design, dated 2/4/2025. And a plot plan entitled Plot Plan Showing a Proposed Deck, number 3 Burbank Street, Sandwich, Mass. by Richard Hood, dated 17 January 2025. The board reviewed the application and all other materials submitted prior to the close of the public hearing. The board received and gave due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing. All members attended: Eben Terrio, Killian Van Buskirk, and Brides. Zoning board finds that the applicant meets the requirements of section 9, Mass General Law, chapter 48. Subject property is located within the R1 zoning district. Subject parcel was created in 1951 prior to the adoption of zoning. The subject 2-story garage structure was built in 2001 and sited 9.6 feet from the side yard line. 20 feet was required. No enforcement requests were filed on the property, and the statute of limitations is up. I'm going to say has expired. The applicant is proposing to extend and change the use of the garage by adding an accessory dwelling unit on the second floor and construct an office addition. The applicant is seeking a variance from the side yard setback to satisfy the previous zoning infraction and substantially change previously intended use of the structure. Okay, the board finds that a literal enforcement of the provision of this bylaw involves a substantial hardship, financial or otherwise. So we can take these one at a time, as we typically do. Is there any disagreement with that statement?
I don't have any.
Okay. The hardship is owing to circumstances related to soil conditions, shape, or topography of such land or structures, but not affecting generally the zoning district in which it is located. Yes, everyone's okay with that?
Yep.
Okay. Desirable relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good or nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of this bylaw. Disagreements with that?
Fine.
Chase, you defensive?
It's all, I feel like we're voting on not what's in here. So, sure, yeah, I don't think I'm good.
Okay, you're free to vote one down. Okay. Any additional findings? Should we mention the, okay, it says 9.6.
I think they're expanding our coverage to
10.6?
22%.
10.6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was 9.6 from the sideline, right? So they need a 10.6 variance, so we should make note of that.
10.4, right, for a total of 20?
Math is really tough tonight. You can
No,
see
because
that.
there's 12
0.4
inches
plus
and
0.6 is 1.
Yeah. How many centimeters in a yard?
But we're in civil, yeah, it's 10.4 plus 9.6, right? You were, which, I think you
It
have
gives us 10 inches, right?
20 feet, right?
Yeah.
Okay, boys.
Look at,
We have engineers on the panel. We can.
Just trying to back you up, I think you had 10.4 the first time, right?
measuring 6 inches from the, what sideline is that? Is that the easterly?
Southerly.
Southerly? Is that a guess or is that? All right, nothing further, I will move to adopt the findings.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, conditions. At the public hearing, the Board of Appeals considered potential conditions of approval for this variance. The board voted that the following conditions of approval shall be imposed upon any approval of any variance, and that these conditions are reasonable, that the applicant and its successor in interest shall be bound by these conditions. Failure to comply with the conditions set forth in this decision shall terminate the grant of the variance. The variance shall not take effect until it's recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the recorded variance is provided to the Board of Appeals. Okay, so there's very few conditions to. Right, so I will move them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay, I will move to approve the variance application.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, next up is a 48 Tyler Drive, number 25-18.
Okay, the procedural history. This is the application from sections 1330, 2420 of the zoning bylaw for property located at 48 Tyler Drive, which was filed on October 7th, 2025. After proper notice was given, the public hearing was opened, on October 28th, closed on October 28th, 2025. The application was accompanied by a plan entitled Certified Plot Plan located at 48 Tyler Drive, Sandwich, Mass, prepared by Benjamin Chapman, October 7th, 2025, prepared by EAS Survey, Inc. The application was also accompanied by a written request for waiver of submission requirements to provide photographs of the premises and all adjoining structures. The board reviewed the application and all other materials submitted prior to the close of the public hearing. The board received and gave due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing. The following members attended: Neiman, Terrio, Killian, Van Buskirk, and Brides. Findings: the board finds that this application meets requirements of Section 9, Mass General Law 40A. Requested waiver from submission requirements does not detract from the board's review of the work proposed in the application. Everybody's okay with that, right? Got through that, right? Subject parcel was created in 1950 and located within the R1 zoning district. Property consists of 16,117 square feet with over 200 feet of frontage. Maybe we have to change that, huh? What is the frontage, actually, if we take it from the radius, center of the radius?
123 plus 30 and a half.
126 and 30 and a half, so 156 and a half.
Yeah, 123, yeah.
So 156 and a half?
Yeah.
I'll hold you that. It is currently comprised of a one-story, single-family dwelling and detached garage. The applicant wishes to construct a two-story residence with an addition and a two-story garage structure and other exterior features such as decks and a retaining wall. The proposed changes increase the non-conforming nature of the existing residence by expanding the footprint by approximately 80%. Construction of the proposed structure is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than the existing structure. Section 1330, board does not find that there are conditions peculiar to this case, but not generally true for similar permitted uses on other sites in the same district. The board finds that nuisance, hazard, or congestion will not be created. The board finds that there will not be substantial harm to the neighborhood. The board finds that there is no derogation from the intent of the bylaw, such that the district's objectives will be satisfied. The applicant proposes to increase the lot coverage to 22%, remaining in compliance with the 25% maximum. So, let's see, all right, we don't really need to add anything about how we determine the lot frontage. Okay, anything further on the finding?
Should we note the height, since there was nothing in the application? Applicant,
32 feet, but I mean, that's kind of, you can't build over it anyways, right? I mean,
what's that?
So you couldn't build over that anyways, and 35 feet, right?
Yeah.
So I mean.
Yeah, and maybe it's worded that applicant proposes building height within the maximum allowable, right? Just as opposed to, he didn't submit anything, you know? What's that?
Just wants to make you type more.
What's that?
He just wants to make you type
I
some
know,
more.
I'm getting a little rusty. So is this?
Applicant proposes building height to be within the allowable maximum. He's got a plan with nothing on it, so I think it's worth noting.
Which complies with, what do you say? Applicant proposes to construct a structure which complies to height restrictions?
Structure within
Structure
maximum height.
within limits of.
Yeah, within maximum height limitation.
Okay. The applicant proposed to construct a structure which is within the maximum height allowed by the bylaw.
Sure.
All right, anything further? No. All right, I will move these findings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Conditions, public hearing, the board considered potential conditions of approval for the special permit. The Board of Appeals voted that the following conditions of approval shall be imposed upon any approval of a special permit. The conditions are reasonable, and the applicant and its successor in interest should be bound by these conditions. Failure to comply with all the conditions set forth in this decision shall terminate the grant of the special permit pursuant to requirements of Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw, section 1330. The grant of the special permit shall expire upon transfer of ownership prior to initiation of substantial construction on or occupancy of the site unless such transfer is authorized in the special permit, or if no substantial construction or occupancy takes place within 3 years of the special permit approval, excluding such time required to pursue or await the determination of appeal referred to Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 17. Special permit shall not take effect until it's recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the recorded special permit is provided to the Board of Appeals. Erosion and sedimentation controls shall be in place prior to any clearing or removal of established vegetation or any ground disturbance, and shall be maintained throughout. Is there anything further? I don't think so. There's no other conditions, I will move them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and so, decision, after reviewing the application, the plan, and other materials submitted, and after giving due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing, the board hereby approves the special permit application for property located at 48 Tyler Drive as shown on Assessors Map 87, Parcel 60, for the purpose of expanding a non-conforming structure by constructing a 2-story residence addition and garage. I will move to approve the special permit.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, we move on to special permit number 25-19, 85 Route 6A, special permit amendment, Community Health Center, Cape Cod.
Okay, procedural history, the application in accordance with section 1330, 1340 of the Protective Zoning Bylaw requesting to amend a special permit number 2417 for property located at 85 Route 6A, which was filed on October 7th, 2025. Proper notice was given, the public hearing was opened on October 28th, 2025, and closed on October 28th, 2025. The application was accompanied by a revised plan set prepared by Horsley and Witten Group, LLC, entitled Community Health Center, 100% construction plans, Sandwich, Mass, April 8th, 2025, revised October 7th, 2025. The board reviewed the application and all other materials submitted prior to the close of the public hearing. The board received and gave due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing. The following members attended the public hearing: Eve Ontario, Killian Van Buskirk, and Brides. Findings.
Jim, just to procedural history, the application number is section 1330 and 3110. There's no section 1340. They don't exist. Sorry, just to
1330 and 2110, 3110, right?
3110 parking. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so findings. Board finds that the application meets requirements of section 9, Mass General Law, Chapter 48. Subject property is located within the BL1 zoning district. Let's see, I think there's what is here. Since the applicant has obtained an approval not required.
Yeah.
Endorsement from the planning board creating a parcel consisting of 42,831 square feet with 174 feet of frontage. The applicant discovered a deed restriction requiring the building, okay, that should be deed restriction requiring the building to be set back 30 feet from the easterly property line. The proponent has reconfigured the proposed on-site amenities to position the building outside the setback and to adjust the allocation of parking to meet existing requirements. Variance 2418 is no longer required. The applicant has sufficiently demonstrated that the relocation of the proposed community health center on the lot with no changes to the previously approved architecture, floor plan, or stormwater management system does not create any new nonconformities. Section 1330 requirements. The board does not find that there are conditions peculiar to this case, but not generally true for similar permitted uses on other sites in the same district. The board finds that nuisance hazard or congestion will not be created. The board finds that there will not be substantial harm to the neighborhood. The board finds that there is no derogation from the intent of the bylaw, such that the district's objectives will be satisfied. The applicant is proposing 53 parking spaces on site with 3 additional spaces off-site in the adjacent Cape Cod parking lot. The fire department has requested a reduction in parking requirements to 51 on-site spaces in order to keep the emergency egress clear. Anything further?
I'm good.
Okay. Then I will move those findings.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the conditions. The public hearing, the Board of Appeals considered potential conditions of approval for the amended special permit. The Board of Appeals voted that the following conditions of approval shall be imposed upon the amended special permit, and that these conditions are reasonable, that the applicant and its successor in interest should be bound by these conditions. Failure to comply with all these conditions set forth in the decision shall terminate the grant of the amended special permit. Pursuant to the requirements of Sandwich Protective Zoning Bylaw, Section 1330, the grant of the special permit shall expire upon transfer of ownership prior to initiation of substantial construction on or occupancy of the site, unless such transfer is authorized in the special permit, or if no substantial construction or occupancy takes place within 3 years of a special permit approval, excluding such time required to pursue or await the determination of an appeal referred to in Mass General Law, Chapter 48, Section 17. The amended special permit shall not take effect until it's recorded at the Barnstable County Registry of Deeds, and a copy of the recorded amended special permit is provided to the Board of Appeals. Emergency egress shall be kept clear of parking at all times. 51 parking spaces shall be maintained on site. 3 parking spots shall be maintained off-site at the adjacent Cape Cod 5 parking lot. All other conditions set forth in special permit 2417 remain in effect. Anything further?
Did you say that the emergency parking would be kept clear?
It is, that makes sense. Put all the signs you want, but someone's gonna park there. Anything further, the conditions? Okay. I will move them.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Last but not least, after reviewing the application, the plan and other materials submitted and after giving due consideration to testimony given at the public hearing, the board hereby approves the special permit amendment for property located at 85 Route 6A as shown on Assessor Map 87, Parcel 77, for the purpose of amending the approved site plan and to allow for shared parking. I will move to approve the special permit amendment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right. Not seeing anything further, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right, Maureen, you just, let me know. I'll come down here. Round, it's not going anywhere, so if it's not going, you just let me know.
Yeah, depends on the schedule tomorrow, but
freezing.
and Jim sends it to me. I'll
Turn the heat.
You have it?
It ain't working correctly.
Oh, here, I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
Then this.
Hey, gang.
Yeah, nobody put any heat. Probably did it.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, we might. It's like watching paint dry on the way.
You know, that's how it
Flip it to
heat
mode?
I tried, it's locked.
Oh, it's still cooling? Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to tell facilities.